I'm about that. Cause I'm about that. I'm about that come up, running up on them fools that are talking foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing the mic just like I ran and Jules in. Y'all gonna get done up front and on that kid with an attitude, but you can't really blame this motherfucker for what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that vintage when I started, I'm about that.
Talk down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Talk down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Know that I'm about it. Want a man I can bring the drama, but it ain't by chance. I'm fucking rapping, you don't really want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping, they call me starving. Yeah, y'all ain't gonna ask who the man is. Hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Talk down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Talk down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We got Foursquare going on today here on the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley here, Paul Munson somewhere over there. Then we got, there he is. There's Paulie. You back? What a great Tuesday. Quinn, welcome to the show, live from the G. Burbick Farm Studios. And we've got Jamie Thompson. James, what's going on?
Not much, living the dream.
You are living the dream. Quinn's living the bigger dream. He's got, first off, before we start the show, got to give some street cred to the Q-Meister. Look at this beautiful, beautiful coffee mug, travel mug, whatever you want to call it. All has been up. It is chrome and blue chrome. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to fill it up with a little bit of Joe later on today. Thank you, Quinn. Appreciate you and all you do. And Muncie, are you with us?
Yeah, I hit mute, and then I didn't hit mute, and then I was hitting the other button. I don't know. I'm on a Chromebook today and seeing if it works a little better.
Did you steal it off of a South Range student, or what did you do there?
I have 30 of them in the back of my room, so.
That a boy. Way to utilize your resources. Does it look any better?
Nope.
All right, well, let's get to the national
I'll be
day.
interrupting people as you talk, so
You already have, so that's just part of life at this point. National Take a Hike Day. So we could talk about walking and actually physically taking a hike, or we can talk about someone that told us to take a hike, or somebody we told to take a hike somewhere on our path. With that, I'm going to start it off with Paul, because I know you've let more than one person know to take a hike on a more regular level. So what's your favorite story about telling somebody to take a hike?
I'd just like to tell somebody to take a hike right now, and it's our governor, take a hike. Jesus, this guy's just ridiculous. I mean, maybe it'll be part of my beef too, but come on. It's getting silly. Take a hike, take a break. Go take a walk with Fran. Walk your dogs.
Happy Tuesday, Mom. Appreciate you tuning in on the Power Hour. Quinn, I've told you to take a hike probably 365 times in the last 365 days. What has been your sweet Bippy? Speaking of guys that need to go take a hike.
Let's take a hike day.
See ya. Taking a hike. What's happening, gentlemen?
How are you?
If I was any better, I couldn't stand myself. How are you?
I'm doing well. Ed Kiernan says hello, by the way, before I forget.
Hey, Ed. How's it going, man?
He's not
here.
He's
not here, but tell him I said hello.
You got it, buddy. Thanks for popping by.
All right. Let's see it.
Take a hike.
Take a hike. I don't have one.
No.
I don't know. Okay. I can't be put on the spot.
You pulling teeth for that take a hike story. Quinn, what's your favorite take a hike story, one way or the other?
I mean, I guess you. Nobody really ever tells me to take a hike, mostly because they know I won't walk anywhere, and they think it literally, I guess. But I'll go with you because I get fired every day,
Every
maybe
day.
every week. I don't know.
Every day, at least
I'm
once.
always back, so oh well.
Matt Seidel saying, I told an official to take a hike this year, back to doing youth games. Very cool. Let's go over to Jamie. Have you ever told anybody to take a hike other than Romo to try to get another room key?
No, yeah. I won't go too deep into it. It's kind of a real long story, but make it short. I was leading the team in average, obviously stolen bases, whatever, is down at Scene Park. And the head guy told my manager that he had to bench me because I didn't show up to a showcase game. So basically, I went to the dugout, packed up my stuff, and I took a hike. I said, see you later. I'm done playing for this team. After that game, because our center fielder made about 4 errors, head coach called me up, said, hey, man, I'm not going to listen to him. You can just come back. Please just come play. So then I did come back. But initially, I packed up. I said no.
Atta boy. Way to stick to your morals and your high ground. I like it. My favorite take a hike story was was probably the best learning experience I've ever had was oh boy, look who shows up, by the way. My goodness. Not a moment too soon. Happy National Take a Hike Day, Mac.
Yeah, my computer can take a hike right now because it had to do all these updates, and I can't get my Bluetooth stuff to work right now. So I'm a little peed off at it right now.
We got you covered. My take a hike story is the first ever time I got fired. It was unbelievable. They had to build such a case against me because they just didn't want me there. And then the way they told me to take a hike was I couldn't work in the industry for 2 years, and ipso facto, that's how YSN was built. So thank you for telling me to take a hike, because here we are 3.5 years later, and we are doing better than ever. Mac, what's your favorite take a hike story?
Oh man, I've actually I've never been fired. So like,
Well, that's good.
that take a hike like that has never I've never happened before. And I've never really been on a I can't relate to this right now.
Do you ever have to cut a kid and tell him to take a hike?
Yeah,
Do you ever have to kill a dog and tell him to take a hike?
yep, that's about to happen too. See, this is the day I'm having. This is the day. Today's the day. Carpe diem.
All right, let's go over. Looks like Coach Foster has a story. Go ahead.
All right, I'm back with a take a hike story for you. In college, my roommate and I, we had jobs working for Ramada Inn. We were bus boys for Ramada Inn. And we worked there for about 2 months. Nice little job, college job. But after 2 months, it was spring break time. So we had about 14 guys going from W&J down to Panama City Beach, Florida. And we finangled a way into a Ramada Inn in Panama City Beach, Florida, and got employee discounts for 2 rooms. So each room was $25 a night. We had 14 guys in 2 rooms, so roughly we were paying $2.50 per person per night at these rooms. You had to work at the Ramada Inn 6 months before you were able to get a employee discount. And so we took advantage of the situation. There was a young girl working the front desk that really had no business giving us the employee discount, but we got it. And after about 3 days of spring break, somebody in the group walked by the security guard on his way back to the room and decided it was a good idea to take his partially eaten sandwich. And somebody else felt that it was a good idea to wear his jacket. And they didn't find that amusing.
Which one were
So
you?
they ended up kicking us out of the room in the rooms in Panama City Beach, Florida. And the following week, when I went back into work, the old lady who was the owner of the Ramada Inn in Washington, PA, she reamed me a new one and pretty much told me to take a hike. And I said, fantastic, great memories. I'll easily trade that. It was a good deal.
So number one question I have for you was, how did the sandwich taste, or how small was the jacket on you?
I was innocent on both accounts. Innocent
find
on
that-
both accounts.
I find it very hard to believe.
I tried to be the peacemaker in the whole situation. All right. But when the police showed up and cuffed my roommate, he sung like a canary. He was like, "It was him. It was him. I'm not going to jail for you. You bleep bleep bleep." Anyway, yeah, that was the end of it. It was good times.
Love it. More story time with Uncle Pony. Appreciate you popping by, brother. As always, continued success. We'll see you at some point around the range.
All right. Take it easy. See ya. Take a hike.
So there it is, the National Take a Hike Day. That was a good story. Uncle Pony's story time is my favorite time of Coach's Corner during the football season. What do we got here? Kate's telling I tell him to take a hike daily. Billy says no. Best on what? Best one. It has to be one. Best one is when DJ told me to go get sandwiches. That was a good day. Probably not for Quinn, but that was a good day because I said, "You go get a sandwich."
Every day is a great day.
Come here.
Is that one of those days you fired Quinn?
I didn't fire him. I just yelled at him a whole lot that day.
Worth.
It's like one of the 40th. Step into my office, you're fired today.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Quinn was not my favorite person that day. Paul took a hike when he worked at Ponderosa.
Oh yeah. Yes, I did.
Is there a story there?
Yeah. So I was a dishwasher. It was my junior year in high school. Me and another buddy. Well, actually, Jimmy Curlick. You know Jimmy. Jimmy and I both were dishwashers there at Ponderosa, and it was coming up to our junior prom, and we had to go get fitted for our tuxedos. I was working and he wasn't, and he came in with another friend. He goes, "Dude, we're going to go across the street to American Commodore, whatever was in the mall." And he goes, "We're going to go get fitted for our tuxes. Let's go." And I'm like, "I'm working my shift." And he goes, "Screw this job. Don't worry about it." He goes, "I'm quitting next week anyway." And the only reason I kept the job was because I was working with him and he was a buddy. So I was like, "Seriously?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I'm leaving here next week. So who cares? I'm like, "Okay." Took my apron off, hung it on the thing, and literally just walked out the door. Didn't even tell anybody, just walked out the door. Went and got fitted for our tuxedos and hung out the rest of the day. And I went back like the next week to get my check, and that was it.
I felt like I was like, all right, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Did they give you your check?
Oh, they gave him my check and a nice talking to. And obviously I couldn't use them as a reference, but I mean, I was a junior in high school. I didn't care. I've had so many jobs. I could be talking about taking a hike for the rest of this hour.
I'm going to go back and look at your resume and see if Ponderosa is on it, because I want to look a little deeper into the resume of Paul Munson.
No, anything before I didn't have on there. My job list is as long as my arm, and then this one over here too.
One of these days we'll have to. I don't know if there's a worst job ever day, but I think we got to go around and say what was the worst job you've ever had, or personally, not necessarily the worst job like per se, but just a personal experience. I think that'd be a good show. People like to hear our experiences. They love hearing about sports. Naturally, well, trust me, we're going to talk about that because there is a lot to unpack, especially after the press conference with Governor DeWine and his team. We're going to talk about all that, but let's just what the hell with it. We'll get to it right now. Yeah. So the anticipation of winter sports, that's where we wanted to start. We were going to get to it yesterday. Obviously battling a little bit of trying to get my voice back here. Guys, when you think about winter sports, I know we've got 2 games left in football in the fall season, but we're going to turn the page real quick here to winter sports. Officially, the start date for girls basketball is Thursday. And you look at that and you say, oh boy, are we ready? Paul and I and my wife Sarah, who does some of our scheduling as well and making sure that we know where we're going and we know what games we have on, kind of having a heart-to-heart last night, went, oh boy, Oh boy, I don't think we're ready for this quite yet. But with the anticipation of winter sports, COVID's starting to cancel some of the plans already, and Governor DeWine coming out with today a curfew between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. for retail stores. Not a whole lot changing because there's not a whole lot that's open past 10 p.m. nowadays. But do you guys think that there is going to be a change in winter sports, and what do you anticipate that change being? Quinn, we'll start with you because you're the Gator closest to the boat.
I mean, being as close as I am, I don't know. Like, I want to say that there's not going to be a change and that we're going to have a season and all that stuff. But I mean, so far, I mean, he hasn't really said anything about schools shutting down and all that stuff to where it's going to affect it. You know, I think right now he's kind of just playing it by ear and letting it go for now, hopefully, at least. But if the decision is going to be made, it needs to be made, 2 days from now, basically? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I think we're all in that kind of situation where we don't know. We hope it happens. Like, we hope we get a season and everything, but we don't know. I mean, as a coach, we're preparing as if we're playing our first game. So until something happens, I guess that's how the course of action is for us.
Is it bad that they're not telling coaches, athletic directors, school districts what the plan of attack is? I think we all know what's going to happen. You're starting to see schools go remote. I think Newton Falls is going remote until December?
December 1st. Hallen just went too. I mean, I know they're not on our network yet, but Hallen did just go remote, so they're another one too that's following suit.
If I'm a parent, I'm having a hard time understanding how my kid can go play sports and in a physical activity but not be in the classroom.
Well, they shut down sports right now in Newton Falls, so there's no activities, there's no practices, there's nothing sport-wise going on in Newton Falls until December 1st.
I know they with the basketball program at Ursuline was also put on quarantine until the 27th. I want to say that date might not be accurate, but I know that they were kind of put on shutdown, at least for a temporary basis. Anybody else hearing anything from any other schools that, the dominoes are starting to fall? We're really concerned about this. United Girls, Chris is chiming in. United Girls are not practiced in 2 weeks. First game is Friday. Just an example of the chaos to come. United is remote until December 1st. How is this fair to not only the student athletes, but how is this fair to the coaches, the athletic directors, the programs, of just this uncertainty that we're facing right now? This is incredible. Steve, making sure I'm correct here. Ursuline goes remote starting tomorrow. Here we go. EB chiming in. We kind of had that discussion last week. Remote has nothing to do with if you play sport or not. It's up to the school district. Yeah, I get that, but you know that you're going to have a conversation with some parents that say, wait a minute, my son or daughter can't go learn in person, but they can go play point guard for the basketball team. I think there's going to be a lot of red flags raised. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of had a discussion too, but one doesn't go without the other. I don't think you necessarily need to have, in school learning to be an athlete, but I think I started to kind of late last night on some news threads, and people seem to be upset about how this is directed at sports. Unfortunately, we're a sports show, so that's what we're going to talk about it, deal with it. So, it just is kind of what it is, so I just don't. I think for me, I think on the safe side, I think everything's going to get pushed to December 1st. I don't think there's too many games that get played between now till December 1st. It's a 2-week span, so maybe there's quite a bit. I don't have schedules in front of me by any means, but maybe the girls gets affected a little bit more than the boys, but unfortunately, I think you're just going to push it back. You're waiting the inevitable for somebody to make any type of decision, and it's kind of like football all over again.
Allison Thompson chiming in saying United boys also on quarantine until further notice, haven't been able to have cuts yet. So, I mean, there's some things that are being held up. I know Warren JFK had a cancellation, I believe, of a scrimmage. Coach Comlink, I saw on his feed. These coaches, I mean, Paul, you lived through it in the spring. These coaches have got to be frustrated because again, the communication has been piss poor to this point, from the state down to the educators, the coaches, and the schools, the districts. So, what can the state do better to communicate? Can they give a plan of, hey, this is what we're looking to do? They didn't even announce this curfew thing. Not that it has much to do with the schools, but it'd be nice to know what's going on. And it's, I feel like he's looking for ratings during the day. Is there anybody that thinks I'm crazy for saying that?
He wants some attention. He wants some attention his way, and the bad thing is you even go back to dealing with like OHSAA. I mean, I almost think like right now they're just saying, all right, everybody, let's get through Sunday, and then maybe we'll start talking about winter. And then I think they're going to come out and say, okay, winter's going to be delayed now, because you figure you talk about scrimmages. Right here, the South Range girls were supposed to have a scrimmage the other day, got canceled. Their season's supposed to start here pretty soon. With teams coming in with no scrimmages, limited practices, I mean, you're looking at like, what are you going to be like? And you're going to have complaints like, we didn't even get to do anything. And I know football had the same problem. They maybe got one scrimmage before they were allowed to play. But, I mean, you're looking at some of these teams that might not be able to touch any of their kids. Like, hey, you can't come to practice or anything right now, but if you're not moving games back, hey, our first game is, Friday. What are we supposed to do? Well, I think they're just going to get through this weekend, and then they're going to be like, okay, everybody, we're going to push everything back with a limited start. And then I think they're going to alter all these schedules. Even though everybody's sending them in the way they are, I think it's going to be just go through that. And it's like, come on.
Well, West Virginia canceled football season. They had a state championship game, and they're done. They didn't play.
Well, so did Michigan. Michigan had one more week to go, and they canceled their state championship.
So I mean,
I'm
it's
really
not out of the realm of possibility that it could happen from now till Friday. Let's hope not. I hate that to happen.
I have a hard time believing it will. I really do.
I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility.
They want that money, and they're going to try to get every dime of it come this weekend.
I mean, they might want that money, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones that actually make the decisions. If Governor DeWine comes out and says, "Hey, everything's shut down," that's tough. They got to deal with it.
We got a novel here from EB here, so I apologize for covering you up. EB says it won't be fair, but it's something we need to power through. If you push back the season, then it might never get started. Sports are a huge part of these students' mental health. It's a lot easier to track 20 to 50 kids if there's a problem than it is to a whole school. I agree with that. December will be rough for a lot of programs. So, with him chiming in on something like that, because here's the tough part for a lot of us and a lot of people that, appear on the Power Hour and appear on YSN in general, is we've got a lot of coaches, right, with a lot at stake. Paul, you had a rough time accepting that there wasn't going to be a season in the spring. I mean, you fought it tooth and nail all the way to the point where, like in late May, they finally pulled that plug. Mac, you were in the same boat. Quinn and EB were in that. Yeah, they did, and I don't think they'll do it like that again. I think they recognize that they misstepped there, but I think what we're going to see is what a lot of people have alluded to, and that's moving basketball in the winter season past 2020 into 2021 and starting January 4th or somewhere around there, because then you've got the holidays over. That's what they're worried about. My mom is chiming in about the shopping season, people going out trying to get their Xboxes, their PlayStations, their shopping done on Black Friday. She's got a valid point. I can see that they're trying to control the crowds, and she said that sports is just collateral, and I can get behind that, because I don't think they're necessarily trying to throw a wrench in sports. Sports is just a part of everything else that garners crowds. So what do we got here? Coach Seidel can't delay hoops until the OHSA makes every time it can on football.
There you go.
I'm agreeing. Mike McKenzie. Hey, look. Now this is our Michael. This is McNuggies, I believe. Michael McKenzie says, fortunately for Beaver Local, they have been able to practice and still have scrimmages scheduled, but obviously the team is fully aware that the rug can be pulled from underneath them at any moment. Quentin, you guys have a scrimmage against them, do you not?
Yeah, we scrimmaged them tonight, actually.
So there you go. I mean, the scrimmages are still happening. There's no crowds, correct? Or are there a lot of
crowds, mask, except for the 5 that are playing right now on the court.
Okay. And then Chris Sigler saying West Virginia winter sports done until January 15th. So, let's be honest. That's West Virginia, and they are usually the last place to have this stuff happen. So if that's the bar, West Virginia, January 15th.
That's a big deal.
It is, because that usually means Ohio is probably right behind. I know Governor DeWine was just in Indiana yesterday.
He was in West Virginia too.
Was he? Yes. So
yeah.
You look at that. Could that be a little bit of a sign to come? Jamie, where do you sit on this?
I mean, I was just in here kind of listening to all you guys. I don't really know too much. I didn't watch the Lions press conference, but I was kind of getting this eerie feeling of us waiting for football season. Just everyone kind of sitting on their hands, wanting to know what's going to happen. And with it getting cold and the freaking cases spiking and everything, it just gives me a bad feeling. I hope that, we're able to have it, whether we power through it, like Evie said, whether we have to delay it until after the new year, whatever it is, we just got to get these kids on the court and let them play.
I'm gonna attempt to go to this Britt. He's got some interesting comments all the time. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. And I've talked to Britt about it. Love Britt. COVID is bad, but the politicians have to stop shutting things down because it's not going to leave. All they're doing is playing whack-a-mole. I can get on board with that. I think that's a great analogy of what they're trying to do. Paul and I were talking in the pre-show. What does this do? This curfew. What does it do?
I feel like it doesn't do anything. I think it's the same as wear a mask, right? Because most businesses have been, for the most part, shut down at 10 a.m. At 10 p.m. anyway. I mean, we went through that curfew before. It never really got lifted. It's really still being there. It's just more or less like reinforcing what was already in place.
Yeah, I've got some.
Well, and you look at 10 p.m. Okay, it says you can still commute to work if you have to work. You can still go to drive-through and get food if you want. And if you have to go to the hospital or any kind of medical need, you can do that. Other than those things, what is anybody else doing at 10 o'clock at night besides maybe driving home or driving?
Well, it's weird you say it. A lot of people go to Walmart to get their grocery shopping done at night. It's a lot easier. But Walmart has not been open since COVID, since our official lockdown after almost 9 o'clock. So not really sure. Again, to me, it's just more of a reinforcing the issues of, hey, we're not letting anybody open past 10 o'clock if we don't have to.
Ours is 10 o'clock exactly. The one that we shop at in Chippewa, Pennsylvania, it's right down the road. I think it's 10 o'clock exactly. And I'll be honest, I haven't shopped a wink since they did that pull up and you can order and have it ready for you and they bring it to your car. Like, done. Let's go. If I don't have to be inside Walmart, see ya. EB, this is an interesting one for EB because we've talked about this a lot. If the OHSA pushes back basketball after Sunday, then you know it was just for the money. If you're still on the fence about this, that this whole season was about the money, then we lost you somewhere because every indicator is pointing to it is all about the money. I mean, all the way to they've got 6,500 capacity this Sunday or this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they're selling, as if they had 10,000 capacity.
Yeah, they should only be allowed to sell 975.
Listen, it just goes to show you how they didn't allow high schools to not only have one side of stands, and they're going to have stands in their championship game. I don't really want to call it their championship. It's not really it doesn't have that feeling of a state championship with the crazy, crowd being like Paul Brown Stadium or Tiger Stadium or, like in Canton, but their championship. It's kind of how I kind of feel. I don't want to take anything away from the teams that are playing in that state championship game, but
98% of people wearing masks don't do it properly, so the masks do no good. Hand washing does more to prevent transmission than anything else. That's coming from your registered nurse, ladies and gentlemen. So I think everybody's seen the masks like that people. Nobody does it right. Well, except
Oh, the best is we went somewhere. Kate and I went somewhere, and some lady had it cut right here. I swear, she was putting French fries in her mouth at a cash register. Like, I gotta wear it.
No Chippewa Walmart for you, DJ. Pennsylvania says no entry without current negative COVID test. Okay. So
You're going to carry it around in your pocket?
Well, it's a good thing because you don't actually have to enter.
Yeah, I'm not, like, we're not going in. Like, what are they going to do? Tell me I can't go down the road and step into Pennsylvania? Is the National Guard sitting there?
Yeah. Oh, here's
King
my test.
Kong
Here you go.
ain't got on me. That's what I would say to that.
Little training day. There you go.
I'm gonna go. Now I'm just gonna go to Walmart because of that. Let's find out if they can stop me. You want to talk about the people that never turned away money? The OHSEA and Sam Walton right at the top of that list. So
they welcome anybody in their doors.
Do you think that basketball? Do you think that winter sports is going to be affected? Just give your prediction when we're going to start and why. Mac, we'll start with you.
Yes, I do think it'll be affected. I'm not sure if every school will be affected. I think every school will be affected differently. It's going to be just like football. You're going to have last second schools bowing out of games and league games and whatever. They're going to be cancellations all over the place. It's gonna kind of feel like a baseball season with weather delays. You're gonna get schools canceling left and right because X has it and this team has it and this team, so for whatever reason. But I think the start, most schools are probably going to be on a delay. It looks like December 1st is kind of that hot number right now.
Jamie, how about you? What's your opinion on what will happen for this winter? I almost said winter football season. My God, you know where my brain's at. Winter sports season.
I feel like I'm really in the same boat as Mac. I mean, he kind of said it perfectly. There's going to be a lot of cancellations, and it's kind of going to be like a baseball season. Hopefully, it can go off without any hitches, but at this point, it does feel like sports either going to be delayed or maybe they'll have to push it back even further and kind of just extend the season or try and prolong it. But I feel like it's hard to tell right now because nobody has information. I don't know any more than I'm sure anybody at the OHSAA does because who the frick knows what the line's going to do.
Paul, you've been through this once as a coach. Do you have any advice for our JV basketball coach in Quinn Puskar?
Puskar. Yeah, I mean, listen, if they're allowing guys to still practice, then, keep the kids interested, keep them practicing, keep them motivated to be out there because I agree. I don't see basketball starting at all in the month of November, period. So if they continue to let kids practice, then, keep them in the gym, keep them going, just tell them, guys, listen, it's going to happen. We just don't know when. Let's just make sure they don't get frustrated. And it will start to get monotonous doing the same thing over and over again. But, I mean, to have a season for some of these guys, it could be their last season. So they need to just stay motivated and just keep going. But other than that, I mean, it's unfortunate we're all at the mercy of either the OHSAA or the governor on what's going to happen, and the schools have to abide by it. And some of the schools are doing good, some of them are doing, some of them are doing bad. Just like they got to shut down, and they're shutting everything down. So,
Quinn, talk about where you're at. Make a plea for basketball and especially basketball to be played here on time and throughout the season.
See, I'm kind of different. I think they're not going to shut it down, kind of. I think it's going to be more on the schools to shut it down on their own. I don't think they'll make that decision to cancel it all because everything going on right now with football and everything like that, like Eric said, if they cancel it after Sunday, it was just football and the money and all that stuff. So I think OSHA won't cancel. I think it'll be on the schools to do it based on who does what.
EB with a special guest appearance during work hours. What do you got?
Yeah, I had to drop in real quick. Here's the thing. I'm with Quinn. I don't think OHSAA will cancel this. They're going to put it on the schools because they don't want the heat. And if you're going to push back basketball, you would have had to make a decision today because your first girls games are Friday. So if you want to start December 1st, that gives boys 2 weeks. Girls, Some of us, technically, if our schedule would have held true at Salem, we would have had 4 games in by December 1st. I think that would have been maybe our 5th. We'll have 5 or 6 by December 3rd, December 5th. So you can't sit there and have prep. You're supposed to play Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, where you have 4 or 5 games, and then just say, "Oh no, we're going to push it back," because now the predicament is you're going to have multiple teams who have 3 or 4 games in, and then you're going to have people who maybe have 1 or 2, and then you're just going to say no. If you start to do that, then the season's pretty much just gone, and you just set the precedent of saying the season is gone. Now, we're fortunate enough with how our schedule's set up is we have gaps in our schedule in case if there's any, I guess, delays or anything to where we have makeup times or we can fill in games. You might have to do something with the way things are going to where you have some back-to-back games, or, you know, you get in the end of January, you're playing a Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. But I think a lot of people just knew that coming into the year. So if you're going to make a decision on pushing back any sports, like today would have been the final day to do it, just so that you can start to prep.
So let me ask you this.
Why wouldn't the final day be Friday up until you played?
How are you going to do that? Like, so you're telling me an hour?
We're going to tell you
like,
done.
like you just did that the kids in the state championship game warming up. So you have people warming up, and then now you're going to come out and say, "No, we're good. You can't."
Well, that's kind of my thought process. Is if they would do it when girls on the floor are playing in a state championship game, why wouldn't they wait until the last second?
Because you know what you're going to do. You're going to sit there, and all these schools are going to say, well, if this is what it's going to be like and you're this uncertain, we're just going to cancel the season. You start to cancel that season, club sports are going to sit there and be like, all right, see you guys later. Come play club. And the OHSAA and schools definitely don't want to sit there and miss out on that money.
Yeah, and Coach Seidel saying he disagrees with they would have to do it by today, saying exactly what you said. You know, they proved they don't care about timing when they pulled the kids off the floor last year. Here's another kind of, I don't want to say this is an example because it's a bad example, I think, but remember the days of weather delays in baseball and softball where you didn't know if you were playing until the afternoon announcements in school. So if they're going to do that, I think there's a lot of schools that are waiting until Thursday to this decisive press conference for Governor DeWine to realize if they're going to play or not. I think some schools got ahead of it, and I think some schools are waiting to hear what they say, because if they're closing gyms, restaurants, bars, basically public places, how do you have a game or a match or a meet or whatever? How do you accurately and effectively do that when people are losing their jobs and losing, you know, their businesses? And then, but you're not allowed to be in the classroom, but you're allowed to go, you know, face guard somebody.
Yeah, but your decision on the restaurants, bars, and everything was made today. Like Thursday was.
No.
That's essentially what he came out and said.
No. He's saying that he's doing the curfew right now. The bars, restaurants, and gyms will be made still Thursday.
I mean, I took it as he pretty much made that decision today, because then he put the restaurant association person on saying, you know, this is how we're going to power through it, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, I took that as, okay, so you're just going to say you got to be out of bars, restaurants, and all that, because he even said, like, you can still go through a drive-through, or you can still do a takeout order from a restaurant. You just can't, you know, more or less go hang out there after 10 p.m.
Well, and I don't know if you guys have been around, but they're starting to shut down. Like if you go to a McDonald's, the one in East Palestine shut down their dining room. So it's once again, it's drive-through only, takeout only. So you look at that and you go, does anybody else just feel like we just woke up on Groundhog's Day again? You know,
yes.
It just seems
Every
like
day.
it's happening again.
I feel like I'm just waiting for the inevitable to happen.
You know, with
I'm
the fall
going to give
sports,
credit to.
with football, you know, it was outside. it was outside, so they were able to put the restrictions they did, but everything was outside. With basketball and wrestling that's going to go on here in the wintertime, everything's inside. You're now in a confined building with all this stuff, and that's why I think they don't care about a time frame. They're going to pull the plug whenever they feel like pulling the plug. They could pull it the day of the games, and they could say, "Guess what, everybody? You're backed up till December 1st." They don't care about that, and they've proven that time and time again. They don't care about these kids. They really don't. They don't want the problems of if something happens to them, but they also just don't care. They want to know about what they can do to line their pockets, and it's unfortunate that's what they keep doing time and time again. And it's coming. I firmly believe it's coming, and I would be, like I said, I would be very shocked if we play any basketball.
Can OSHA can't like postpone the season, right? Because they run the postseason stuff, right? Isn't that kind of what was said like during football season was, hey, OSHA doesn't make the decision when we actually start the season. It's just so OSHA is not going to make the decision here to say, hey, we're not starting until December 1st. That's going to be based on probably schools or if the government of the Ohio State government decides to make a ruling on that. That's the only way.
That's why I said it'd probably come down to the schools. Like,
right.
I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Brittany Mollis on Twitter, Bird's Eye View, she's part of That's What B Said. I actually think she's going to jump on our show one of these days. She said DeWine is great at acting like he's making a decision when he's actually not making a decision at all. So, like, he's falling. Yeah, he's falling on deaf ears. Like, if he wanted to sit here and make all these press conferences hold weight, he should have jumped on the TV, maybe once a week for the past couple or whatnot. Here's your update. But doing it every day or 5 days out of the week, no one cares what he says anymore because it's falling on deaf ears. It's like being a coach. If I sit there and I coach some of my AAU girls because I'd have them year round, they're never going to listen to me because my voice holds zero weight to them anymore. It's the same thing here. Like no one believes this guy. No one essentially trusts this guy. And OHSAA, we all know what that is. They're going to sit here and say, well, it's a school's decision until February comes and it's time for them to make money. And then it's going to be, hey, you can do whatever. It's going to be, 300 people for a regular game. Well, now that the tournament's here, you can have 1,000 because,
let's have 500, 600 people in that gym. Why not? Hey, COVID's not that bad, right? Here's a cookie.
Here's what we're going to do. We invested in a whole bunch of old iPads and we're going to recreate the Thunderdome for every stadium. And we're going to charge you $200 a ticket.
The WWE already did that.
That's what I said.
Oh, I didn't know that you were referencing the WWE.
Yeah.
We thought about that already. YSN has tried that. We went to the pawn shops and tried to collect all the iPads. Brian had one job. Guys, I mean, EB, make a case for your players. Why should the players be able to play without a pause or a pushback?
I mean, it's simple. They deserve it. Like, you're affecting them, and they have had zero say in anything. And I'm not saying necessarily they're in the mind frame or, they're mature enough to make that educated decision. But, dude, these guys bust their ass. Like, we're sitting here day in, day out, not just Salem, but I know everyone that we play in our league and leagues across Ohio, they bust their ass. You can't sit here and tell them they can't do something and pull it out from underneath them without even giving it a shot. And I've said this from time and time again, like, don't jump the gun and make a decision without even seeing if it works. And that kind of makes me sound like I'm contradicting myself because, well, why don't you just come out Friday and pull it away? Well, you didn't even give them a shot. These kids, you've already proven, or you've said it's been proven that they're not really the problem. Their bounce back is better than anyone. So let them be it. If it means there's no fans, will it suck for them? Yeah, I'm sure, but give them the opportunity. Like if anything, if we're supposed to be the ones prepping these kids to be the leaders, the next leaders of America, then we have to give them the opportunity and really pave the path to say, hey, your time's coming up. This is what we're doing for you to get there. So you got to give them every opportunity that you can.
Love it. Love it. I love the leaders of America, the next leaders of America. That's huge. Mac, make your case for your players.
I actually have more of a question. Like, do you think a lot of these decisions are being made because there's fans or there's not fans? So, do you think that they would play EB without a tick if there was absolutely no fans in the stands? And is that a problem for somebody to make a decision because nobody wants to tell mom and dad they can't be in the gym while their kid's playing?
I think if you ask the kids, they would play. The bigger problem is going to be the parents. It's always going to be the parents, and rightfully so. It should be, but the kids don't care. I don't want to say that they don't care, but they'll play because they love to play. It's going to be even like now. Like you can't have fans or anything at scrimmages, and you hear a lot of parents or people outside. This is my kid's last year. We only get so many years, and I agree. To answer Michael Page, yes. So these are unprecedented times. Like nobody planned for this. So you adapt, you overcome, and you move on. You can't just, you're right. Life is not fair, and life never will be fair. But does that mean you just lay down and let it take it to you, or do you, sit there and look adversity and take it head on?
So is there a plan? Do you see that there's no fans, no parents, no nothing this season? Do you think there's a path to that?
There might be a backup plan, but they're going to be super, super hard up on this 15% or 300 max, whichever is the lesser of the two. I mean, so you take some of these
the schools, if they put no fans in the stands, the schools are going to hemorrhage money like crazy. And I think that would be even worse because if there's no fans and the school's got no way to have any kind of revenue off of winter sports, I honestly would say this. I know it would be great for us. Absolutely. For YSN, it's going to be huge. But if you have no fans in the stands and the school's got no way to make money off of that besides YSN, if they're a YSN school, I honestly think you could see in the future they'd start cutting certain sports. They'd cut sports because they can't afford to have them anymore.
But they can't cut sports because nothing else brings revenue in.
They wouldn't cut sports. They would just make it mandatory pay to play. They'd say, hey, you have 20 players. So this is what the cost is because we have to take care of officials, this and that. And if at that point, if you're not with YSN, that would be a good time to make the phone call.
Phones are open now on the MP Vivo fan line. Quinn's back there manning the phones. We can have a telethon if you feel like it.
No, I don't know how to work this thing.
Well, all you got to do is pick it up.
Figure out how to get it to work.
You got to pick it up. If Poe can do it, you can do it. I'm pretty certain. Are you confident in that, Quinn?
Sure.
You got more brain power than him. Let's go.
Hey! We got some.
There it is.
Mac, hands up. It's Mac. It's Mac.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I saw his phone.
I mean, regardless, like,
Pick it up. It's Mac. He turned it off. Mac, tell him it was you so he doesn't feel like garbage.
It was me.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your honesty. And now he can't turn the phone off. Now we got a problem.
I got it. It was still lit up. We're good.
Paul, you want to make a case for the players, for the students, for even for the coaches?
Absolutely. I mean, they should get to play. And I think that a decision should be made now. I mean, quit dragging it out, whether it's OHSAA, whether it's Governor DeWine, whether it's even the schools. They need to make a decision now because schools right now still are sitting on their hands a little bit going, well, how many cases is too many for us to not have school? I mean, you've got schools all around the area and they're shutting down, they're going remote, and you got to figure this out. And some schools are just sitting there going, well, let's just wait and see how bad it gets. Well, you can't. You got to make a decision. Whether it's premature or not, I still think you need to make some kind of decision, give everybody a heads up so they can prepare for it, not just waiting until the last minute. The kids deserve
Well, I mean, no decision is a decision, though, right now at this point, isn't it? Is it not?
Correct. Here's
So, I mean,
another
we've
thing,
come
guys.
full circle with this, with COVID.
You look at Steve.
COVID
Look at
affected
Steve's.
basketball at the end, and now it's at the beginning again.
Look at Steve's message right there. Like, I wish there was more people that would pay attention to this because This is how you GSD, as we say around these parts, right? This is how you get stuff done. I would stay away so Grace could play her season. Like, we asked the question, would it be fair for parents to not see their kids play? No, absolutely not. It would not be. However, the sacrifice that Steve, Coach Leslie, the GM of this organization, knows that it's more important for his daughter to play basketball than it is for him to watch her in live, in person. You know, listen, it's important for kids to have sports. We've been over it a zillion times. Do we feel good about talking about moving sports down the line? No, because sports is our lifeblood. If there's no sports, we get to do this guy for another 6 months, right? Like, it's not what we like to do. We like to talk about sports. We like to talk about your kids. We like to talk about your programs, your coaches, all that stuff. You know the drill. But this down here, this is the creme de la creme of what everybody needs to embrace is I would stay away so they can play. If you really want sports to happen, it's less about you and more about them. So I hope parents, I hope fans understand this. Yes, YSN, we are in a good position to help a lot of people and obviously to be in business. But I will say this, without us, who? Right? This wasn't started, obviously. YSN wasn't started in the midst of COVID. It was started 3 years ago when nobody even knew what that meant. Before it was even created, a lot of people speculate. So, like, it's unbelievable. And Britt's in the same boat. Steve, Leslie, totally agree. Let the kids play.
Some of the parents, though, I think the parents that you'd hear complain are going to be your senior parents who are saying, this is my last year my kid gets to play. This is the last time my kid's ever going to see the floor.
So
I want
let
to be
them
there
play. No, but
Yeah.
that last sentence, the comma in that sentence negated everything you said before it. This is
I
my
know,
kid's
but
last.
that-
This is my kid's last. This is my kid. Listen, I get it. I'm not a senior parent. I understand it. I've been a senior before. I know. I've seen a lot of seniors. I know a lot. I get it. Parents, I understand it. I do. But if that comma goes away, this is my kid's last. Whatever. Season. Game. The list goes on. ... If you care that much and you're going to put yourself on that pedestal, delete the comma. Let them play. That's all you need to do.
I agree, but I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. Those people are out there.
But
And
that's a
those people we see
selfish thing. It is. It's very
Yeah.
selfish because you'd rather watch
We've
your
seen it
kid
through the fall.
not play. You'd rather be in the gym and watch your kid not play than not be in the gym and let your kid play and actually let them have their senior season. You can watch. I don't care where I'd be watching. As long as I can watch my kid play, I'm good. If it means I'm watching on this, fine. If it means they're playing, that's what I'm talking about. That's being unselfish.
All right, we're starting a trend here on some of the comments with I would stay away. All right, Steve.
I was a senior parent. I would definitely stay away so we could have the opportunity to play senior year. Annie Wilson-McCullough. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Great on
so
her.
maybe that's what we need to start looking at. Maybe that's what the OHSAA in these schools, and Paul, to your point too, yes, if there's no fans, it is going to be a bad scenario for the schools. But listen, everybody antes up $100 for my kid to play. You want to see how fast these kids play, especially the seniors? Like, I know pay to play is not the answer. I do understand that. However, you know, a batting helmet is $45. A baseball bat is $375. Come on. Like it's there. Steve, look at Steve, a trailblazer. He is the original trailblazer on YSN, the Salt and Pepper Man. I mean,
He is our Ric Flair.
he is.
Woo!
What we got here. I couldn't make it to every senior game, but yes, I would love to stay home so my children can play. My mom would just like to stay home to knit. She would like to knit and watch games on YSN if YSN would have been around my senior year. I guarantee that. There's no doubt about that. My dad would have loved it because he would have been – listen, my dad was the kind of guy that when he wanted a TV, he stuck a fork in the back of the TV just to watch it explode so he could get a new TV. So if Dan Yoki wanted it to happen, he would make it happen. So, yeah, I think we hit a stride here, guys. I think that, we're not blaming the parents by any means, but how bad do you really want your kid to play? If you had to be put in a I don't want to say in a box of you can't watch your kid play on anything but streaming, would you still want to do it?
It's so weird because as coaches, we talk about, words like sacrifice all the time to our kids. And we know and we understand that our parents sacrifice just as much as the kids do, making them, working extra jobs to get them the pair of shoes that they need, all those things. But it kind of just feels like, what else are you willing to sacrifice to make this season kind of fly for winter sports? And it might be no parents. It might be parents have to come, but they're forced to wear a mask. It might be you're limited to go alternate games where, hey, you can make it to this game, but you can't go to the next game. And then that way parents get a rotation of something. There's probably a couple different options, but it's definitely going to be something of us, all of us sacrificing something else to make sure that this season happens fully.
Love it. Final thoughts
maybe
on this?
You only say you're allowed to go to your home games. No visitors are allowed in, just home games only.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Yeah, it could be any of those things.
Screw off, Pennsylvania. I'm going to go test that theory right after the show. Final thoughts on this. I know we're going to talk a lot about it over the next couple days as we lead into the state football championships, and we learn more about Governor DeWine and his great press release on Thursday, which EB says he let it out of the bag a little early. But Jamie, you've been quiet. I apologize for not getting you into the conversation more. But what's your final take on this?
I mean, there's 1,000 different ways that you can get it done. Like we kind of all talked about right here. You can not let parents in at all. You can just let in the home parents. What it's going to come down to are these people going to be, smart enough, kind of just nut up and make the decision and let the kids actually play. I talk about it on the streams all the time. Let the kids freaking play. This is what it's all about. I hate it when anybody tries to step in like a parent in a crowd that's just making too much noise, thinks it's about them. It's not. Or a referee tries to take over the game. It's not about you. It's about the kids that are on the field.
Throw that flag. Targeting. What? EB, last take.
No, I'm with him. Look, if someone came out and said you could only have 3 coaches there and it meant for my seniors to play, look, Casey, Annie, Lexi, Kyla, please, I'll be the sacrificial lamb because you guys, you only get these years so many times. Like you only get 4 short years, and you guys work too hard for it, and that's anyone. If that's what the stipulations, I don't like to wear a mask, but I'll do it because it keeps them playing. I don't like being hall monitor on Saturdays and Sundays at youth tournaments, but I'll do it because it keeps, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th graders playing, and it gives us some sense of normalcy. If that's a sacrifice that I need to make, then by all means, I'll do it. It's at this point, when it comes to high school sports, it's not about anyone else but the athletes. And I think you could look at 99.9% of the people and everyone would make that sacrifice. That doesn't mean they're going to be happy with it. And I don't blame them for being not happy with it. But, it's at this point, it's not about us. It's about them. And, whatever it is, you make sacrifices for things that you're passionate about, and we're all passionate about sports. Fortunately for us, we have the platform that we can help people see these games and we can highlight their kids and whatnot. So even though it's not the most ideal situation, by all means, we're going to do everything in our power to make it the best situation.
Love it. Quinn, wrap us up.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said it before. Make sure I'm on. Everybody said it before me, honestly. I mean, there's not much more I could say about it. Like, I'm in the same boat as Eric. Like, if it was that situation where I needed to step aside to make sure everybody can play, then I'm going to do that. Like, it's bigger than me, if you will.
I love it. All right, that leads us into our final segment of the day. We're going to be in
I'm out,
overtime
guys.
here.
I got to go make some calls. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Thanks, EB. We're going to head into our G. Burbick Farms What's Your Beef? Brought to you by G. Burbick Farms. Visit them on the web at gburbickfarms.com. their farm, your freezer. Make it happen. New Buffalo Road in Columbiana. Greg is open from 10 to 4 this Saturday, so make sure you pop in and fill your freezer with his beef. Yes, I said it. Fill your freezer with his beef. I know Mac did. I know I did. And I know Ray Seamil did. Seamil. I always butcher his last name, so I apologize. But Greg getting a lot of beef this time of year, so make sure you're filling it up. And you got a lot for chili. You can still put steaks on. I mean, we just had a blizzard 30 seconds ago, but now it's clear as can be. So visit them on the web regardless, gburbicfarms.com. Guys, let's start with Jamie, the silent assassin today. What is your beef, young man?
I guess I'll just go with, COVID, man. It sucks. It really does suck that we're even in this position to be talking about basketball getting delayed after we already had a baseball season canceled, after we fought for football season so hard. It just sucks. And, I'm a young kid, so I talk to young kids all the time. I'm friends with people in high school. I have never encountered one kid that has said that they were afraid or scared to play. They don't care. They want to go out and they want to play the sport that they love. I know I'm in the same exact boat as them. I've talked to people from different states all over, man. I got Ohio, PA, we got Washington, California. Everybody's freaking sick and tired of it. The people want to get back to what they know best. That's freaking sports.
Q, go ahead.
My beef is the weather. I hate the cold. And I guess that could be myself too, because I still live here. But I don't like snow. I don't like cold. It makes me hurt. Don't like it. And shout out to you, Nuggies. I'll be seeing you in a little while. Coming for you.
The ripe old age of 26. He's already breaking down. Let's go to you, Mac.
No, I'm not. Sure.
First off, Quinn, you need a little mental toughness, as Emil Bertolini would say.
Fortitude.
My beef is my computer. It's just not working well today. Kind of seems like you just put these automatic updates that are on. They don't actually automatically update. You got to physically do it, and then when you do it, it takes forever. So it's a 15-minute window there, and I still couldn't get my Bluetooth headsets to work. I tried to do them all show. So if you dealt with Echo, deal with it. So there's that.
Attaboy. Muncie, you got something good for us?
My beef is with people who don't respect other people's time. People put a lot of time and hard work into things, and then you can get people who come in and just completely shit on it and act like they didn't do anything at all. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating for those people who put all that hard work and that time into something, and then it just gets shit on by somebody because they think they either know better or that they just feel like they can do that because they might be in charge. And it's like, why did you even have somebody put that effort in if you were just going to shit on it? So it's like, whatever, those kind of people bother me.
Well, be better, Paul. Be like me. Great.
I'm sure we'll get to that in the post wrap. Mine is it's a little the beef's a little bit undercooked. It's medium rare, if you will, just the way I like my steak, by the way. But I'm running the park today. Cold as can be, like 34 degrees, something like that. I'm all bundled up. Nobody can see me. I'm just running my laps and being done with it. And, I crossed paths with this gentleman who was in shorts, a really thin hoodie, and a ruck pack that they have in the military that was military issued, as a matter of fact. And I passed him. I kind of gave him the head nod. He gave me the head nod. And I'm walking probably 3-4 more steps, and I had my headphones in. He comes up and he kind of like peeks around, and I said, "Oh, take my hood off. Are you okay? Everything all right?" He goes, Yoakley, right?" I said, yes, sir." He goes, "I love what you did with YSN. Congratulations on all your success. I'm in the military, and I watch you all the time." So that moment for me was pretty awesome. Because we talk about the military, as much as we can, given that we are a sports show, the utmost respect that we have for our men and women that serve, and of course, just our fans in general. If you see us out there, I highly encourage you to stop us. We're not celebrities, in any case of the word, except for Billy. We're not. We want to talk to you about sports. We want to talk to you about what we do because we do it for you. It's a really cool thing that we get to do here because when we hear about it, which is rare, because in life you don't hear much about the good things that you do very often. So if you see one of us out there, I don't care if it's at dinner, stop and introduce yourself and tell us where you listen to us because we appreciate that. I know Jamie does, Romo, all of us here at YSN, we greatly appreciate it. If you got beef, come to this guy, all right? I'll take the heat. Leave them alone, or you can just go to Billy. As a matter of fact, let's just change that up. Let's just go right to Billy. Give him all your heat because Quinn
Just be ready to get fired and back upon. That's all.
Quinn saw me go through 42 voicemails today. I didn't even know we had voicemail, to be honest with you, here at the station. So I learned something new today. We have a voicemail, and there was 42 of them waiting for me, and shockingly, they were all pretty bad. And there's another. Make it 43.
Quit calling.
So it's just thank you to the gentleman who stopped me this afternoon and said that he loved what we do. Hopefully you're watching, and you know how much that meant to me because it warmed my heart the rest of the day.
Hardcore military guy running in short.
Dude, he was badass. Like, I wasn't messing with him. Like, there was zero chance, and he couldn't have been any
bundled
nicer.
up and he's in shorts like it's nothing.
Yeah, I had like remember when it was cool to wear like the 3/4 like I don't know, they're like leggings almost. I don't even know what they call them. The tights, right? Underneath your shorts. Well,
Still cool.
Yeah,
Kids still wear.
Yeah, well, I still look stupid every time I wear them. I feel stupid every time I wear them, but it keeps me warm. So I guess that's the functionality of it. So, so thank you. The bottom line is thank you for anybody that recognizes what we do in public. Just know that, again, we're not even close to wanting to be, nor are we celebrities. We do it all for you. So every time that you tell us that what we do is cool or you appreciate what we do, it means more than any paycheck could ever mean to us. So thank you to that gentleman. And I hope you guys get it a lot more because you deserve it as much as I do, if not more. So we got Kate Kelly saying, please don't stop Billy. No one needs him to yammer on about how popular and amazing he is.
Also not denying the fact that I am popular and amazing.
The fact that you used yammer in a sentence in 2020 is ballistic. Let's go to Michael Page. I can't wait to see Billy one day in public. Billy, feeling mutual?
On site.
On site. That's going to do it for the YSN Power Hour. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys popping on. For a minute there, Paul and I thought we were going to be the lone wolves. Yeah. That would have been an interesting show. So, Jamie, thank you. Hopefully you have some time the rest of the week. And to make sure you tune in on Thursday. I'll be right out the door after Thursday, heading to Columbus with Steve-O. So it's going to be exciting. And, of course, Friday there will be no show, no post-show either. So you are going to be everybody's going to be locked into that JFK game that we'll have all over YSN. And then, of course, on Sunday at 5 o'clock, we will have Jamie and Romo doing the Springfield State Championship. So a lot of stuff between now and then. Of course, our Wednesday show, our Thursday show, we will have tomorrow and Thursday. But until then, we will see you guys next time right here on the YSN Power Hour. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks to you. We'll see you guys later.